Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome whenever you get to see today's live at 5. I am Big Joe Shep, founder and chief bloke of the ThreeBOD Rugby Group. Our new series, episode 6 already in only 2 weeks of our live at 5, designed just to give a little bit of a thought-provoker and a taster at 5 o'clock when you're traveling home from work or whether you're taking a coffee break. We are, as ever, brought to you by SHEPs Blend, the only thing to wake up with in the morning, from CoffeeDog.ie, partnered with a local business, SHEPs Blend. You can now wake up with Shep. Why wouldn't you want to? There we go. Today, I've got a very old friend on. He's a friend. He's very old. He's a very old friend. He is one of the fans' favourites on the original Three Blokes, a Ball and Bod. Now firmly entrenched, he is a voice of reason, solid reason, and more especially, he has just been elected as the president of the South African Deaf Rugby Union. Please welcome Reenen STENEKAMP. Reenen, how are you?
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me on. I was thinking just now, it's been a while since you and I have been on one, be it alone or with other people. So thanks for having me. Always an honor.
Yeah, my pleasure, mate. Listen, we hope that you and the family are well. Short and sharp. So tell us about the South Africa Deaf Rugby Union. What is it? How is it structured? When's it been going from?
Joe, the way it works is we have SARU, and then you have affiliates under SARU. Now, the Deaf Rugby came to life, so to speak, in 2007 through the works of a gentleman called Tim Stones. He worked with another guy called Vernon Weiss. And they wrote a constitution, and they worked from that and started to get deaf people together and, try to make a team. But they struggled to get it off the ground. Then in 2014, by then they've gained more momentum. And through Twitter, through social media, I became aware of this. These people are hard of hearing. They struggle to communicate. Now, I myself, my 1 year is deaf. People don't know this. My grandparents on my father's side were both deaf. And my 1 year is deaf, as is the one of my father and my one cousin. So technically, if I was young enough, I would qualify to play deaf rugby because my decibels are low enough. But that's just on the side. So in 2014, I became aware of these guys' struggles. So I contacted a guy called Mark Barnard, who turned out to become quite a player for the Deaf Box on his own. He's currently with the Sharks. He's doing their social media. Anyway, I got in contact with him. He put me in contact in turn with Tim Stones. And then I was selected as vice president back then. So I served under Tim. We then succeeded in getting the South African Deaf Rugby Union, as it was then known. Today it's Deaf Rugby Association, but then it was SARU, Deaf Rugby Union. We got ourselves registered under SARU. We needed a unanimous vote at the AGM of SARU, which we were able to secure. I went and saw Mr. Harold Verster at the Free State Rugby Union. He actually did the groundwork for me, which to this day I'm very, very, very glad and I'm very appreciative of that. And then we had our first test series on South African soil against the then world champions Wales, who totally thumped us. I can't remember the scores, but we scored 1 try in the 2 test matches. That try was scored in the last 2 minutes of the second game, so that gives you quite an idea of where we were at that stage. I then saw that I can't really, contribute here anymore at this stage. So it was time for the new structure to be elected, and I didn't make myself available. A guy named Dean Almeida then took my place as vice president. Tim carried on as president, and they went from strength to strength. They since established a provincial competition called the Stones Cup, named after Tim Stones, and rightly so. By the way, Tim is today the president of the World Deaf Rugby Union. So he's pretty high placed. And so that's the way it's been going. But they haven't really, with respect, these guys haven't really made headway. If you look at it this way, they played 2 test matches against Wales back then, none since. So it's time for, I don't know, something like renewal, a fresh approach, mate.
Sure.
So they contacted me last week or the week before, I can't remember, it's all been happening so quickly, and asked me if I'm going to make myself available. I want to make myself available. Tim contacted me. So after a bit of arm pulling and arm turning, I said, okay, I'll make myself available for this. But I think I'm yet to realize what I'm letting myself in for. But yeah, so I made myself available, and then it turned out after a couple of people then in turn withdrew their nominations for president, that I'm now standing unopposed, which means that when the AGM comes around on April 17, I will be elected unopposed. So that's where I'm at this stage. That's how we came about back then. That's a very short and brief history of where we were and where we are now.
Superb. And how many? Because I know there's the Free State Deaf Rugby Union, because they've got a group or a page on Facebook. But how is it? How many organisations have you got within that across South Africa, mate?
I'm yet to.
Okay.
Absolutely, I'm yet to have a proper look at this, because I know many of these organisations some of them are dormant. Like in the Western Cape, they have 2 teams, 2 full deaf squads in one province. But in a province as big as the Free State, they can't get a competitive team together for some reason. We have to work on that. The same goes for Natal, where the Sharks play. The Sharks are, Durban.
Yeah.
But then again, the Blue Bulls have quite a strong team. So how it works with the provincial competition is you've got the 2 teams down in the Western Cape. You've got a Western Province team and a Boland team. Boland is more like the countryside. And you've got the Bulls, and then the rest make up like an invitational team kind of thing, to give the players in the provinces that can't put a team together the chance to still compete. They got that team, which actually they're quite competitive. They don't lose every time they play. But it's time to expand that, Joe. We can't carry on like this. We need to expand our player base in order to become competitive on international stages at some point.
Sure.
So it needs to start from the ground. There's hard work here.
Yeah, look, I think it's an exciting time. I think we've spoken about this publicly and privately, one of the great things that would come out of COVID and the lockdown is that we have a chance, excuse me, to regenerate some things that hitherto just haven't had it there. It's nothing against anybody, from past. It's just the opportunity hasn't been there. So I think that opportunity is great to be able to do now. I'm one of those people who, longer term, would like to see every province, region, club, franchise to have a full eclectic, getting excited, a full eclectic mix of rugby. So you have the men's side, you have the women's side, you have mixed ability, you have visually impaired, you have deaf, you have all of that within the auspices of everything. And I think the time is coming when that's a better use of support across, because you've got the wider organization behind you to be able to do that. Where do you go though in your first instance? I mean, do you have a patron for it, or do you have some people in mind? How do you get sponsorship, or how do all of those things work to be able to support what you're doing?
Now you see, Joe, we had a patron in Joost van der Westhuizen whose kids are on cochlear implants. So he had quite a, he had touching points with the deaf. And I'll say they, because this happened before I became involved back then. They approached Joost and he said, yes, he'll be patron, it's fine. But then he became sick, and, and passing is quite tragic. He had a hard time, really. He suffered. Yeah. And since another patron hasn't been approached, so I've since gone and approached, I'm in the process of approaching a senior Springbok who won the World Cup recently, to take hands with him. I can't say the name yet because that's still in process. But in order not only to be, in order not to only create an awareness, but also to create sponsorships, because that's what's been holding us back all these years. We've never been able to land a proper sponsorship to create money, to create an event, a test series or a sevens event or whatever the case may be. I see that, and you just mentioned the word lockdown, which brings me to, a touching point in this, Joe. England was supposed to tour here this year, and then COVID happened. They were scheduled to come here. There's a sevens competition scheduled in Argentina for later in the year. Okay, I don't have control over that, so I can't really, try and make that happen. But the England tour, you use the word lockdown, Joe. You can only hide behind COVID for so long.
Yeah.
If the British Nice Lions can come here, then England Deaf can come here. So my plan is to approach England Deaf once the AGM is come and gone and everything's up and officially running. I want to approach those guys and say, listen, you guys are scheduled to come here. Are you interested? Do you still want to come? We're going to bang our dates and we're going to make this thing happen. Because it's time to put these guys back on the map. And I'm excited to do that. But, in order to make that happen, Joe, you need a hard approach. You need somebody, and unfortunately, I'm going to be that guy, to say, listen, there are no excuses anymore. We're going to find the money. We're going to work around COVID. So, it's time to make that happen. So, yeah.
Good, man. Well, listen, I know that obviously he's been on the show with us before, Alex Basson, who runs the visually impaired side of things for the Change Foundation in London. And I know that they're looking to take a team across there. And whilst that's visually impaired, maybe worth putting the two of you together to have a chat of what the Change Foundation do. So there's just something off the top of my head. So I will arrange that for you. Let's see who we've got on the show briefly before I ask you my final question. Jeez, I told you the time with 5:30 minutes. Dave Toppin, Why Walker One, good afternoon, mate. Always a pleasure. Ian Gilbert, our ambassador extraordinary to the Court of Madrid. How are you, brother? Gregor Galway, spelling. In fact, Ian Gilbert says, check your spelling, Gregor, because apparently South Africa have a deaf rugby community. Hey, listen, wherever it works. In Mexico, there's a place in Mexico, once a year they dig up the families and they have a party. Why not? Just saying. Good man, Gregor, well done. Oh, the great Ilse van Staden herself is on. Fantastic rugby. Truly special sport for everybody. It absolutely is, and it's really great to be able to promote that out through these. And Gerald Williamson, former past president of Navan, have just come in after cutting the lawn. Good man, you're most welcome to the show. Cool. So we'll have a quick look at today at these good people. South African, excuse me, my poor picture there. South Africa Deaf Rugby Union and its president-elect, Mr. Reenen STENEKAMP. Reenen, give us one thing that you'd like to take away from your initial couple of years as president for the South Africa Deaf Rugby Union. What ultimately would you love to achieve?
Joe, I have one big dream that I already decided on back in 2014. And they say if your dreams aren't big enough, no, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough.
Absolutely.
I want a deaf British Nice Lions. I want a deaf British Nice Lions happen. That's my dream. Good
man. Well, we look forward to that. We're going to follow your progress even more and do some follow-up stuff through our Driebokke, a Ball and Blitzpod, our South African Springbok Rugby Roundup show. And we'll have a look at some stuff, and Andy and Gareth will get you on for that as well. But for now, we wish you, Reenen STENEKAMP, President-elect of the South Africa Deaf Rugby Union, all the very best, buddy. And we look forward to seeing you again. And thanks for just coming on and spending a few minutes to raise the exposure of what it is that you're trying to do. Reenen STENEKAMP, South Africa Deaf Rugby Union. We'll see you soon. Right, lads, that's us. Tomorrow we've got another surprise live at 5 tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You just need to watch the YouTube channel. So, in fact, actually, I better put it up. I know, otherwise my team will tell me off. There we go. That's our YouTube channel. Go and subscribe, and you can watch all the latest stuff there. Obviously, we're on Facebook as well. And we will see you tomorrow at live for 5. I'm Big Joe Shep, founder and chief bloke at the ThreeBOD Rugby Group, talking to the extraordinary Mr. Reenen STENEKAMP. Until tomorrow, take care, everybody.